I'm getting some comments from my viewers that it's so dangerous in the Philippines. That prompted me to do some research on this, and I would like to share it with you. So, hang loose and stay with me. I'll tell you the result of my research regarding crime rates in the Philippines and how people feel about crimes being committed in the Philippines. How safe should we be, or are we supposed to be in the Philippines? This is not just my opinion. Everybody is entitled to their own opinion. Unfortunately, you cannot get hard facts. Maybe in some aspects you can, but in many aspects you cannot. So this research that I did came from, what's the name of that? nationmaster.com. And I did notice that this is a result of their survey. As I mentioned before, there is no statistic or hard statistics on different kinds of feelings people have. But you can conduct, just like they do in politics. And by the way, based on my experience while working, during my working years, statistics is quite accurate. I have done over 100 statistics and it is 100% accurate. Now, there are two factors when you're doing statistics. One is how reliable is it and how accurate is it. Okay, those are the two things. How reliable means what is the chance that the conclusion which you reach is incorrect. Accuracy means how accurate are the numbers you're coming up with. Those are the two factors that will affect the result of your statistics. Now, this is based on statistics that was gathered by Nation Master, and it's anywhere from 50 to 100 sample of people being interviewed. Now you say, oh gee, what kind of accuracy are you gonna get out of 50 to 100 samples or over 100 samples? Well, I'll tell you what, 30 is the minimum sample required for you to come up with a reasonably okay result. But 50 to 100 is better, okay? And the reason is, this is what you call ratio estimation technique. They're looking at the percentage of people as opposed to the number of people. When your statistic says, how many murders did we have, that's less accurate. But if you're just comparing two, like what is the percentage of murder rate in the US versus percentage of murder rate in the Philippines, that's what you call ratio estimation. And with much less sample size, you'll be able to come up with a relatively good estimate. Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about. So let's move on. My initial research came from Nation Master through the internet. And according to this, crime levels in the Philippines is 45.9 and USA is 55.8. That means Philippines is 18.6 better than the United States. By the way, this is based on the sampling of anywhere from 50 to 100 survey participants, in some cases more than 100. People feel safe walking alone at night. Philippines is 54%, US is 41.8%. That means Philippines is 29.2% better than the United States. Feel safe when walking alone during the day. Well, it's almost the same. Philippines is 74.9, US is 75.2 or 0.4% worse than the United States. Given that this is sampling, you can say that it will be equal, but in exact mathematics, it is worse than the USA. Now, when you say 18.6 better here, 29.2%, maybe it's 15% better or maybe 21% better. Here, maybe it's 20% better or 30% better, but what it's saying is it's definitely better in the Philippines, better in the Philippines. Now, here, it's almost the same. It could even be 1%, but that is within a margin of error. Because again, this is not based on recorded facts. This is based on statistical sampling. Now, fear of violent hate crime, 21% in the Philippines, 32%, 32.6% in the US. That's 35.6 better than the United States. What is about being attacked? 41.9%, 42.1%. Again, this is within sampling error. It's Philippines is better by 0.5%. But let's say that just like this one here, that it's more or less the same as the United States. What is about being insulted? 30.1% in the Philippines, 44.9% in the United States, 32% better than the United States. Okay? Now, I know that for a fact because Filipinos are very, very courteous, and they will not just go ahead and insult you. They will keep their mouth shut before insulting you. In the Philippines, in the US, they're very vocal. Capital punishment, last execution year. Now, this is based on fact, not sampling, all right? The last execution year in the Philippines was 1999. USA is 2014. It may even be 2019. I don't know because this is based on a 2014 survey. So this is based on the record as of 2014, and most recently, they had it just that same year. Whereas in the Philippines, no capital punishment, no execution since 1999. Perceived problems of illegal drugs. It's 45.7% in the Philippines and 61.8% in the US. In spite of Duterte's belief that drug situation in the Philippines is so bad, compared to the United States, we are 26.1% than US. Perceived problems of corruption and bribery. Philippines is 55.2%, whereas it's only 42.5% in USA. Philippines is worse by 30% compared to the United States. I know that for a fact. Okay, so I know that that is the correct conclusion. Perceived problems of violent crimes, including assault and armed robbery. 45.2%, whereas in the US it's 75.5%. So 40% better than the United States. Again, these numbers are based on sampling of what people feel, how people perceive the problems to be. Let's continue on. Perceived problems, property crimes, including vandalism and theft. 47.3% in the Philippines and 57.9% in the United States. We are 18.3% better than the US. Violent gun crimes per 100 residents. 4.7% in the Philippines, 88.8% in the United States. Philippines is 94.7% better than the US. Well, it's because of the gun ownership in the US is more or less open, whereas Philippines is very strict on gun ownership. Now, does it make me believe that it makes sense to restrict ownership of guns? No, not necessarily, but maybe we can talk about guns at a later time, all right? Fear of being mugged or robbed, well, 47.8% in the Philippines, 45% in the US, 6.2% worse than the US. Okay, so this is a little bit probably above the margin of error. So this is probably true that directionally, Philippines is worse than the US, but not by much. Fear of home break-in and enter. 45.2% in the Philippines, 48.5% in the United States, or 6.8 better than the United States. So it's just like the previous one. Directionally, I think it's probably true. Fear of things from car being stolen, 43.8% in the Philippines and 59% in the United States.
Philippines is 25% better than the United States. Fear of car itself being stolen, 40.2%, 42%, and that is Philippines is 4.3% better than the United States.
In spite of what I have seen out of this report, I said I will still feel more comfortable if I can get hard facts, hard numbers, hard data. But even hard data is not necessarily accurate, okay? Because there are some unreported crimes, there are some misrepresentation or error in judgment when it comes to how you're conducting the study, how you're conducting the survey, etc., etc. So you cannot be precise, but this will give you a relative feel as to what it really is. So don't worry about the 0.1, 0.2, those are just rounding errors, and you should accept the number relative to something the way it is, because it is fact. Otherwise, they will not have to conduct this survey.
Let's see if I can find another statistic based on the record, okay, as opposed to based on survey, because some people may not believe surveys. But of course, record is not going to show as much detail as survey. You can survey almost anything and you will get some result. But record is limited to what is being recorded. Now, this one I found in World Population Review, which was taken as of mid-2019. So that's last year, mid-last year. The population in the Philippines is 108 million. USA is 329 million. So it's 67% lower in the Philippines compared to the US in terms of population. Crimes per 1,000 population. So this equalizes the field between Philippines and USA by saying per 100,000. Philippines is 41.9, US is 46.7. That's 12% lower than the United States. Now, is that a surprise or what? Philippines is definitely safer, and there is no plus or minus 5% here. We're talking about record here. So this is according to record. Now, I realize that in some cases, for example, the crime of rape is not being reported frequently. So we don't know, but that is a natural fault of the reporting, I guess. Now, compared to the survey, the survey that we looked at by Nation Master, Philippines, we said, is 45.4, but yet the record shows 41.9. And in the US, the survey says 55.7, but the record shows 46.7. But you can see that directionally it shows that Philippines is lower than the United States per the survey, and even based on actual record, don't worry about the numbers, just look at the direction. Philippines is lower by 12% in the United States. So survey says we're lower by 18. The actual record shows 12.09% in the US. Now, let's look at firearm-related death. Philippines is low by 27%, lower than the United States, 8.9 compared to 12.21. Now, we are going to break that into two, but you will notice that everything here is homicide. I do not believe that, because I believe there will be some suicide here too, but there is no record about it, okay? And same thing here in the US, they keep a record. So homicide is 4.46 and suicide is 7.32. So 99% higher than the US, 100% lower than the US. I said, let's cross that out and let's ignore the breakout. This is fact, okay? That USA has a higher percentage of farm-related death. We don't know the breakdown because I believe this is not correct. It's just that we're not keeping a record. Do you believe that Philippines has zero suicide? I do not believe that. So that may have been combined, all right? But you can also see that suicide by firearm is far greater than the homicide. Okay? A lot of crazy people in the United States, they kill for nothing. Okay, not because they need money, but even though you only have $1, you don't have nothing, they will kill you. So that is the sad part. People are really going nuts. It may have been the food that they're eating. Now, a piece of good news for retirees and elderlies. The House approves Anti-Elder Abuse Act on final reading, and this was based on the Inquirer in February 4, 2019. So fairly recent. This is almost exactly a year ago. Manila, Philippines. The House of Representatives on Monday unanimously approved on third and final reading House Bill 7030, or the Anti-Elder Abuse Act. 176 lawmakers gave their nod to the proposed law, which seek to penalize with jail time and fines, in accordance with the revised penal code, abuses against senior citizens that range from physical, psychological, economic, sexual, and neglect and abandonment. No lawmaker objected or abstained, so it's 100% approved by the House as of February of 2019. So that gives you a good feeling that the criminal is going to get what is due them if they harm the elderlies. So guys, this is what I found, and I was pleasantly surprised. I too was under the impression that maybe crime in the Philippines compared to the US is worse, but it is not. Now we even have another protection.
Now, keep in mind, there is no perfect country. Anywhere you go, there is crime. It's a question of how much crime is there and how serious are the crimes. Those are the things we have to worry about. And many times we have a feeling, but the feeling we get is relative to what we're being told, what we read in the media, what we hear in the media, social media, etc. But the fact is, I was able to get the statistics, which is incontrovertible, and even the statistic may be incorrect, okay? And you have to rely on certain facts as opposed to just thinking, I think it's more dangerous. So I was pleasantly surprised about these numbers, and I am glad to report this to you. Philippines is a relatively safe country. By the way, if you compare Philippines and the US to other Asian countries, or let's say Mexico, it is really bad out there. Okay, so these numbers, the way we have it, are not as good, but it could still be better. All right. Well, I hope you like this video, and please feel free to share this thing with other people. And if you like it, please click like and do subscribe to my channel, please. Thank you so much, and make it a great day.